Have you ever looked at a superstar and thought, if even he looks this distant and quiet, what must be happening behind the scenes? Tonight, we are not just talking about Wang Yibo and Lehua. We are talking about a question that every artist and every fan quietly asks. Is coldness just a phase? Or is it the sign of an ending that was always meant to happen? Stay with me until the end, because this is not simply a story of contracts and rumors. It is a journey of growing up, outgrowing, and learning how to walk away with grace. You are watching Star Watch now, and this truly might change the way you see the relationship between idols and their companies. For a long time, it felt as though Wang Yibo's name was woven into every corner of the screen. His face appeared in dramas, films, variety shows, and documentaries. His presence in advertising and public events gave the impression of a career moving at full speed. To many viewers, he was not just a popular artist, but a symbol of a new wave of Chinese entertainers. Young, disciplined, quietly ambitious. When someone is that visible, you almost start to believe that their light will never dim. And then, almost imperceptibly at first, the rhythm changed. New projects stopped being announced. The timeline between works grew longer. Official accounts that once updated with a steady flow of content became sparse and subdued. Selfies were rare, casual posts even rarer. For a star of his generation and stature, that kind of silence did not feel ordinary. It felt like walking into a familiar room and realizing that the music had been turned down without anyone saying why. Fans, who had grown used to celebrating every new milestone, suddenly found themselves reading between the lines. Was this simply a carefully planned period of rest, a deliberate step back to prepare for something greater? Or was it the visible surface of a deeper distance between artist and company, between personal dreams and the structure that had once supported them? People spoke of coldness, but what they were really describing was a sense of disconnection. The energy that once overflowed seemed contained, held back, redirected somewhere out of sight. In that quiet, one uncomfortable question began to linger. When a star this bright falls silent, is it just a pause in the journey, or the first sign that he is already choosing a different road entirely? From the outside, it is easy to see only the highlights. The film posters, the red carpets, the trophies under bright lights. With Wang Yibo, those images tell the story of someone who has never stopped moving forwards. He has taken on demanding roles that require physical and emotional endurance, pushed himself in extreme sports where every mistake has real consequences, and stepped into public roles linked to environmental and climate awareness. Nothing about that path looks casual or half-hearted. It looks like the journey of a young artist who keeps raising the bar for himself, even when no one is watching. Yet, as fans observed the contrast between his efforts and the support around him, a quiet unease began to grow. When promotional campaigns felt subdued, when misunderstandings online were left to ferment without a timely, clear response, when there seemed to be no strong, visible shield around him in moments of controversy or technical failure, people started to ask whether the structure meant to protect him was truly standing beside him. The feeling was not born from a single incident, but from a pattern. A sense that the weight of responsibility sat too heavily on his shoulders, while the system that benefited most from his name remained strangely distant. For many supporters, this imbalance created a painful emotional split. On one hand, they were proud of his resilience, his ability to face challenges with composure and discipline. On the other, they felt a lingering sadness that someone who gave so much of himself could appear, at times, so alone on the front line. The phrase "support feels one-sided" captures more than frustration with a company or a team. It describes the heartbreak of watching a person carry not only his own dreams, but also the burden of holding together a relationship that no longer seems willing to meet him halfway. At first, the idea that Wang Yibo might one day walk away from his longtime company sounded like just another passing rumor, the kind that circulates whenever an artist goes quiet for too long. But as months turned into seasons and the distance between public appearances, new projects and official communication seemed to widen. That rumor began to feel less like noise and more like an echo of something real. Fans noticed small details. Talk of short-term contract renewals, hints that he was gradually taking more control of his own schedule. The growing impression that his career trajectory and the company's focus were no longer perfectly aligned. None of these signs on their own proved anything. Together, however, they formed the outline of a story that many people were afraid to say aloud, that perhaps this partnership was slowly reaching its natural conclusion. What made these whispers so powerful was not just the possibility of a contractual change, but the emotional history behind it. This was a relationship built through years of shared milestones, from early variety shows to box office breakthroughs. For supporters who had followed him from the beginning, the idea of a separation felt almost like watching a childhood home become too small for the person who grew up inside it. There was no dramatic explosion, no clear public break. Instead, there was a gentle but unmistakable drift, the kind that happens when two paths that once ran side by side begin to curve in different directions. In that quiet, many fans found themselves torn between sadness and understanding. Sadness because endings always carry a sense of loss. Understanding because an artist who continues to evolve cannot stay forever in a space that no longer matches the size of his ambitions. In that sense, the goodbye, if it truly comes, may not be a sudden twist at all, but the final step in a journey that has been quietly unfolding for a very long time. In earlier generations, an artist's image was something fragile and human, a face captured on film, a performance remembered in the minds of those who watched it. Today, in the age of capital and artificial intelligence, that same image can be copied, simulated, and circulated in ways that feel both powerful and unsettling. When discussions began to surface around licensing likenesses and allowing AI to model an artist's appearance, many people did not react as legal analysts or industry insiders. They reacted as human beings. For fans of Wang Yibo, the thought that his face, expressions, and movements might be converted into data, reproduced without his physical presence, touched a deep nerve. It seemed to blur the line between honoring his work and reducing him to a set of profitable patterns on a screen. Behind the technical language of rights, agreements, and modeling lies a much more intimate question. Who truly owns the identity that the public has come to recognize? Is it the company that invested in his early years, the platforms that broadcast his performances, or the person who endured every rehearsal, every long night on set, every moment of doubt and growth? In an industry driven by numbers, it is easy to treat an image as merely another asset, something to be extended, replicated, and monetized. Yet, for the person whose life sits behind that image, it is not simply a brand. It is the record of their youth, their choices, their scars, and their pride. That is why even the hint of overstepping in this area feels so heavy. It reminds us that when capital and technology move faster than ethics and empathy, an artist can be in danger of being everywhere and nowhere at once. Endlessly visible, yet quietly losing control of the very face the world thinks it knows. If we look closely at Wang Yibo's career, one message keeps appearing. He is not waiting for a system to define him. He is quietly redefining himself. From taking on roles in films that demand real acting depth, to challenging himself in dangerous physical environments, to stepping into positions linked to global issues, he is gently moving from idol to independent artist and public figure. For many young viewers, that is the most inspiring part of this whole story. Yes, there may be coldness. Yes, there may be misunderstandings, negotiations, complicated contracts. But there is also the courage to say, "This no longer fits me." The patience to finish a chapter properly instead of burning bridges. The faith that your worth does not end with any single company's logo. In that sense, if leaving really is a foregone conclusion, then it is not a tragedy. It is a graduation. This is not only about one actor and one agency. It is also about us, the viewers, the fans, the people who press play and like. From this story, we can ask ourselves, when we support an artist, do we support only the shiny moments? Or do we also respect their choices when they protect their own boundaries? When we see silence, do we rush to blame laziness? Or do we pause and consider that sometimes silence is self-preservation? When we talk about freedom, do we accept that real freedom sometimes means walking away from a comfortable cage? Perhaps the coldness we think we see is not a lack of feeling, but the calm of someone who has already decided on the next step. And maybe that is why so many people feel that this ending, if it truly comes, was always a destiny shaped by growth, not by anger. So, what do you think? Is Wang Yibo simply going through a quiet phase? Or is he gently turning the page on a chapter that can no longer contain him? Whatever the final answer is, one thing is clear. In a world ruled by capital and traffic, choosing your own path is the most powerful statement an artist can make. Dizzy, thank you for spending your time with us today on Star Watch Now. If this story gave you a new perspective, please tap like, share this video with another fan, and subscribe to Star Watch Now so you do not miss our next deep dive into the hidden stories behind your favorite stars. Turn on the notification bell. Stay kind, stay curious, and we will see you in the next video.